Sometimes frugality and saving money can be thought of as deprivation. How do you avoid deprivation in your approach to frugality so that you're able to save money but also live well and thrive? Let's talk about that today. If you don't know me, I'm Spencer, and I like to talk about simple living, frugality, and ways to cut down on your technology usage, sometimes by using other technologies. So, a couple videos ago, when I was talking about is financial independence a fantasy, a few commenters were saying that sometimes frugality can be too extreme and it can feel like deprivation. I think this is kind of a common mainstream take around frugality, is that in order to live a frugal lifestyle, you're kind of going without, you're depriving yourself of something to live frugally. And that's part of the trade-off of saving money, is that you have to deprive yourself of luxuries in order to do that. I think that that really couldn't be too much farther from the truth. I think that all that frugality is learning to live a little bit more creatively, cutting out unnecessary, maybe socially constructed wants, and really honing in what it is that's important to you in order to thrive and live your best life. And perhaps a lot of this sentiment comes from people who have tried to be frugal in their lives and they've cut certain things out of their life and they found that it's affected their well-being negatively, so that they've got this idea that frugality equals deprivation. But I think this is all just about how you approach frugality, and I think a little bit more of a creative approach needs to be taken in order to assure that frugality doesn't equal deprivation. So there's two ways that I want to approach this topic. The first is really describing the difference for me between frugality and just being cheap, because I think these two are often kind of linked together, and unfairly so, because I think frugality and being cheap couldn't be more different. To me, being cheap means buying the cheapest thing at all costs, no matter if this means a cost to the quality of the item as well. This leads people to buying the cheapest thing of certain items just because they were the cheapest thing, and oftentimes these items are less pleasant to use and they break more often as well. With frugal living, I think intentionality is also at the heart of it. Buying something once, but buying the best that you can afford at that time. For me, I look for buy it for life type items, things that I know are going to be high quality, they're made well, and they're also going to be a joy to use. This leads me to be satisfied with the items that I buy. I don't feel like I need to upgrade because I got something that was good the first time, and it's also enjoyable to use while I have it. I think if I always bought the cheapest thing because I was just trying to save money, I would feel deprived. I would feel like I was often going without something of better quality that would serve me better just because I was trying to be cheap in every respect. But I think this isn't the best way to go. I think if you want to be frugal, you need to be intentional with the things you buy. Maybe that means buying better quality items, but buying less items in general, being more real, being more intentional about what exactly do I need, and then I'm going to buy the best of that category. I don't want to buy a bunch of junk that I don't need, but the things that I do need, I will buy high quality goods that will last a long time and that I will enjoy. And I just want to reiterate, you can be frugal and you can be intentional and a minimalist and still have really nice stuff, right? If you're buying something that is a high quality, good item, and you're only buying a few of these items, but you're buying the better versions of these items that are available, you're buying stuff that is going to last and that is going to be high quality and that is going to do a good job for you and be pleasant to use, then you are still being frugal. I think at the end of the day, you might save more money than that person who buys the cheapest offering of all of these categories and has them constantly failing on them, or at some point they're feeling so dissatisfied with that item that they feel the desire to upgrade and spend the money anyway. Buying the best thing outright is sometimes the best way to go. I think there's going to be a separate video on this topic as well. It's something that I feel quite strongly about, but it is at the heart to making sure that frugality doesn't become deprivation. You need to make sure that you're not forcing yourself to needlessly go without, because that's a huge reason why you might feel that frugality is not for you. And I think frugality really can be for everyone. Another key way to make sure that frugality doesn't feel like deprivation is allowing yourself to just have little moments in your life where you give yourself a treat. You let yourself have these small, maybe even temporary fleeting pleasures, because it helps your well-being, because it keeps you on the right path overall, just by letting yourself have these nice little things. Generally I eat very inexpensively. I have a breakfast of essentially just oats, Maybe I'm having a salad with some beans or a piece of bread for lunch. I'm making basic soups or stews or stir fries for dinner. But I also occasionally like to indulge in a little luxury as well. Whether that's going to a local bakery and having a tart or a cake, or in the morning going to a special coffee shop and getting a nice pastry and an espresso. Just having these little moments where you treat yourself to something and you do something that maybe doesn't seem so frugal if you did it every single day, but by maintaining those things as infrequent little treats, you're able to still have that well-being aspect that makes it feel like frugality isn't depriving you of something and allows you to stay the course on the long term. If frugality feels like a strict and rigid thing that you don't really want to do, but you feel like you're being forced into doing, then you're not going to stick to it for the long term. It's not going to feel fun for you. But if you take those things that are pleasures and you allow yourself to have those pleasures once in a while, then it makes it still feel like this is worth doing. And it also maybe elevates those pleasures as well to a point where you appreciate it more. Say every single day, your routine is you go to a coffee shop and you get an espresso and a pastry to start your day. That may seem like it's a nice little luxury that you indulge in every day, but you've probably started taking it for granted and you've habituated to it because you're doing it so often. Now, if you were going to start living a frugal life and started cutting that out, you wouldn't want to cut that out of your life completely, because if that was something that was meaningful to you, then it is going to feel like deprivation to completely go without it. It's going to feel like you're missing out, and you're going to more likely start to resent the frugal lifestyle that you're trying to live and just go back to spending money as usual. But if you decided to start making your coffee at home and not go out for coffee and a pastry every single day, but instead cut it down to going once a week, that then elevates that experience. Something that used to be a pleasurable thing to you that you habituated to, because you've reduced it to only doing it once in a while, it does once again become kind of special and something that you can look forward to treating yourself to once in a while, but it also saves you a lot of money in the process. It becomes something that you can look forward to while you're also saving money throughout the week by living more frugally, because you gave yourself that treat that you can go experience that thing once in a while. And that's a huge way in order to prevent frugality from feeling like deprivation. An example in my life is I love this local brand Okazu that makes this chili miso oil. It's basically like a hot chili oil with miso in it, and it has like crispy pieces of chili flakes in it as well. I will sometimes make for a nice breakfast a piece of toast with sliced up hard boiled egg on it, and then I'll drizzle some of this chili miso on top. And it's one of my favorite meals in the world. It's one of my favorite breakfasts ever. This chili miso is really expensive, and I put a lot of it on my food, and it disappears really fast. It is not a frugal item if I was going to have this on my grocery list every week. It's like $14 Canadian for a jar of this stuff, and it only lasts me maybe 10 servings, like maybe, and that's like stretching it. So if I bought this chili oil weekly, I'm going to be spending $60 extra on this luxury that I'm most likely habituating to, and I'm not even going to enjoy as much as if I had it occasionally. So by keeping that as a luxury that only happens once in a while, I'm able to enjoy that a lot more than if I habituated to it by having it daily. Even though that sounds kind of nice, I wouldn't appreciate it as much as if I have it just once in a while. By enjoying that as a pleasure that only comes a couple times a month, that is something that I'm able to really enjoy. And I just want to say, I have no desire to make this stuff. I don't really want to be able to make this easier or cheaper because I don't want to be eating this much oil. It's just something that I like to have once in a while as a treat. And I'm fine just having a prepared version of this that's expensive and getting it very infrequently, but enjoying it every single time that I do. And I think we all have something like that chili oil in our lives, whether it's a consumable thing like food, or whether it's some sort of piece of gear that we can treat ourselves to for our hobby, or taking a little weekend away to go treat yourself rather than just sitting at your house and feeling like you're depriving yourself when everybody else is doing entertaining things on their nights and weekends. There's different things that you can do to make sure that frugality doesn't feel like deprivation. And it's making sure that you're just being intentional with what things do I really enjoy and how can I still give myself those little pleasures day to day or week to week or month to month in order to make sure that I'm still enjoying my life and getting the most out of it, thriving. I think being intentional with these things and giving space for them to become pleasures by not consuming them daily is a really great way to enjoy those things while still being frugal and going about it. I think by I think by making these things an occasional indulgence rather than a daily must have is a really good frugal way to approach having these simple pleasures that maintain your well being. And you might actually go and appreciate these things more than you did before when you were indulging in them daily, and your wallet will thank you. And folks, that's about all I have to say on this today. Just my thoughts about frugality and whether frugality has to be deprivation. I don't think so. I think it's really cheapness at the heart of what makes frugality feel like deprivation. And I think by being a little bit intentional with how you live your frugal life, you're able to extract the most well-being out of that life and make sure that you're thriving and not denying yourself of any unnecessary pleasures. What did you think of this video? Are there any little pleasures in your life that you like to indulge in from time to time to make it feel like saving all of that money is truly worth it? Let me know in the comments section. I'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.